Welcome to the Headshots Podcast with Dr. Nicole, a 1-hour conversation on mental wellness to improve your look and outlook. During the show, we will talk about a variety of topics which impact you from the inside out. Each show is designed with 3 parts: lights, camera, and action. In our lights segment, we will shed light on a topic around a mental health concern. In our camera segment, we will focus on that mental health concern, educate, and raise awareness. And in our action segment, we will give 3 steps to improve your look and your outlook. So join us for the Headshots Podcast with Dr. Nicole. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Headshots Podcast with Dr. Nicole. I'm Dr. Nicole Johnson, a licensed professional counselor, addictions professional, trauma professional, assistant professor with over 20 years experience in the behavioral health field in the city of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. I want to say thank you to my live audience and to those who are watching on YouTube and the Facebook replay. I want to thank you once again for being here for another episode of Recovery, Recover Me, Discover Me 2021. And tonight we're going to continue with our conversation around planning for a change, part 2. So let's get right into our lights section for tonight. So in this season, we have been talking about the need for recovery after coming out of 2020, the need for us to learn how to recover. And in our process of recovery, we are also learning how to recover ourselves out of whatever grief and loss and situations we experienced in 2020. But we also recognize that that also opens the door for a great opportunity to discover more about me, who I am, where I am going, and what my purpose is in life. And so tonight we want to continue with our topic, preparing a plan for change. This is part 2. Last week we got into so much that we really couldn't cover it all. So I wanted to come back, slow things down a little bit, and make sure that our listening audience got what they needed. So let's go back to our light. So for the past couple of episodes, we've been shedding light on the stages of change. It is a model, it is a script, it is a prescription for how people make changes in their life. And we talked about the fact that there are 6 stages of change. And so we spent some time talking about pre-contemplation, when you're not really sure that you want to make a change, contemplation, when you're like, should I change or should I not change, to be or not to be? That is the question. And then we got into the topic of preparation. One of the things that we asked you to do is that we asked you so that you can walk on this journey of change with us. We've asked you to identify one area in your life, one thing in your life that you want to change. It doesn't have to be big. It doesn't have to be small. It doesn't have to be medium. It has to be what you want it to be. But we want you to identify that one area. So as we are talking about the stages of change, as we are giving you those tips, as we're giving you homework, you will be able to fulfill your purpose by going through this change process. So last week we spent some time recapping our pros and cons list, how we asked you to write down that one thing and talk about the pros and cons of change and the pros and cons of staying the same. And through that, we started moving into preparation. What is preparation? Preparation is the period where we are getting ready to make the change. So many times in our lives, we can just jump right into a change. We can say we're going to do something and don't even count up the costs to see if we're able to do the thing we want to do, if we're ready to do the thing we want to do, if we have the equipment, the resources, the strength, the energy, the know-how, all of those things that could possibly hinder us. So we want to go back into this conversation because it is important for us to prepare. I'm not sure what you're changing tonight. I'm not sure how long this area has been an area that you have desired to change. But if we are going to gain success in this recovery process, we have got to develop a plan that is concrete, a plan that is written down, a plan that we can refer to from time to time again to make sure that we are tracking, that we are going in the right direction. I know, get your pen out tonight, get your pencil out tonight, because tonight's episode is talking about the plan. So last week, when we were talking about the plan, we started saying things about SMART goals. We started talking about who you need to help you. And we started talking about our dream team. We're going to go back to that. But the reason why the plan is so important is because after the planning comes the action. A lot of times people are ready, like I said, to jump straight into action, and they find out that there are things that meet them in action that they didn't plan for. Oh my goodness, I didn't plan for that rainy day. Oh my goodness, I didn't plan for any new problems coming up. I didn't plan for how I might feel once I start making this change. And so tonight, we want to go back and, like I said, we want to dig a little bit deeper into how do I plan in order to prepare for this great change in my life. I am excited. I'm excited. I know everybody said, Nicole, every week you say that. I am excited because you are going to discover some things tonight as you are going forward in your change that is going to help you. Because when you start getting into this change process, we don't want anything to catch you by surprise. We don't want anything that could stop your forward movement and your motivation. So tonight we're going to move into preparation, our camera section. We didn't shed light on the stages of change. Now let's go into our camera section and let me bring my co-host again tonight, none other than Elder John. He's with me again. So welcome, Elder John. How are you since last week?
I'm excited with you. I am so excited. I thank you for having me back again, and thank you, audience. We really appreciate it. But I'm excited. I've been waiting for this day to come back because we were unpacking so much last week,
Yes.
and it seemed to be rolling so fast that, like you said, we just want to slow it down a little bit,
So
so that you can really dive in and get all the nuggets that's in the preparation, because you'll be running next week into action.
We'll be running it. I like that, John. We'll be running into action. So, John, let's get started in preparation.
Right.
So, one of the things about preparation that we talked about last week is how important preparation is. And so, for our listening audience, as we are talking tonight on preparing your plan, we want you to come on in. Put your questions in the chat. We'll get them. We'll answer them tonight because we want you to leave tonight with a thought about how to develop this plan, the step-by-step process of planning for change. That's what we want to talk about tonight. So, John, let's talk about preparation. Why is preparation so important? Why do we need to do that?
Yeah. Well, preparation is so important is because, as you already done contemplated. You got up out of that area, and now it's time to figure out, since I'm, writing the vision and I'm making it plain. Now I need to make some adjustments. And some of those adjustments really has a lot to do with, even though I've been contemplating, but I still need to prepare my mind,
Wow.
and a part of planning is I need to make sure that my mind is set on this particular change, that even emotionally that I'm ready, and also any other particular area, whether it's physical or spiritual, yes. But when it comes into planning, you really need to sit down so that you can see where you want to go, right? What things that you want to accomplish in there, and then what might be some obstacles. And all the obstacles may not be situation or tangible, but they may go back to the physiological piece. My body, is my body ready for what I'm about to change? Is my emotions ready? What if one of my goals tonight, Dr. Johnson, happens to be removing myself from a toxic relationship?
Right.
Am I emotionally ready for that? So when you're writing out your particular plan and you already got your pros and cons, right? Because you got your pros and cons list, but now you need to actually make it plain. And
John,
so preparation and planning is very important at this stage, because I don't want to get ahead of ourselves either, but that's why we're not running yet.
Okay. So John, preparation does show that I'm serious about this change. It's more than just a simple thought. And even as I'm writing this plan out, what I don't realize is just the act of writing the plan is beginning my mind and preparing my mind for change. As I'm thinking about the change, I'm preparing my mind for change. As I'm contemplating barriers, as I'm thinking about resources that I may have or that I might need, I'm already moving into my change. I'm already preparing myself through the process of planning. Planning is not just planning. Planning is actually pre-action. Right, John?
Yeah, planning is pre-action. That is actually well, you could say pre-action. It's the action before the movement.
The action before, I like that. The action before the movement.
Before the movement. Because you're right. It is action, because that's where you go from stop making a decision and contemplation is deciding. We're all decided already. We're there. We're past deciding.
Yes, that's right.
Once you're past deciding, anything you do moving forward is action. But we don't want to get ahead of ourselves, because if you move without a plan, then where are you really going?
Oh, I like that, John. So that's like saying our plan is our roadmap. Our plan is our GPS through this change process.
Like the GPS, yeah.
And so our plan is going to tell you, hello, you're going to, here's the directions to new life, or here's the direction to weight loss, or here's the direction to exiting toxic relationships, or here's the direction to not having money, or here's the direction to not preparing for that job, that house, that new level that you want in your life. Here is the direction. So our GPS is our plan.
Yes.
And as we have this plan, you know what, John, I found out in times when I've developed a plan, even in that preparation phase, when I begin action and I have a plan, whether I am literally looking at that plan is subconsciously working in my mind and guiding me.
Yes.
So that's why this process is so valuable, because you may think, oh my God, I got to write this plan out. You know what? Yes, because as you go through the process of writing your plan out, it's going into your mind. You're thinking about it. And what you will find, my friend, is that you may not read that written plan every day, but you'll find yourself doing what the plan says. I'll give you an example, John. Many years ago, I wrote a 5-year plan. I had different things on the 5-year plan, different goals I wanted to achieve, different accomplishments. I made steps on this plan, and I just set the plan in the back of one of my journals and just left it. Okay. Totally forgot that I really had written this plan, this 5-year plan in my book. When I went back to my book, and I think, John, it wasn't even 5 years. I think it was like 3 years into this 5 years that I had written about in this book in the back of one of my journals. I was amazed at how I was able to check off so many of the things that were on this plan. And I'm saying to myself, but I forgot about this piece of paper. I didn't even look at this piece of paper. But the fact that I took the time to prepare and to plan and to document, it was already in my mind. It was
Yes.
already in my psyche. It was already guiding my steps and leading me. And it didn't take a whole bunch of work. It was there. It was there. Then there were other things that I had not achieved yet, but I was so motivated and so encouraged to know those other things. Oh, I'm going to get there with them, because I had so many things that I didn't even realize. Just by writing a plan, just by preparing, I was accomplishing those goals. I was
Wow.
achieving those marks.
Yeah, I'm elated just listening because there's so much stuff is going through my mind as you're talking about that. I'm excited because what you're referring to is, like, I started thinking about how when you start with that vision, knowing
Mhm.
what you want,
Yes.
and there's information out there, books are written, people have written movies, but it talks about the 7 steps of highly effective people.
Effective people. Yes.
And one of the first steps is basically beginning with the end in mind.
Yes, John.
And
Yes.
and and I've
Yes.
learned over the years that many successful movie writers or
Mhm.
authors, they actually begin with the end in mind.
Yes.
So they already
Yes.
know where the end of the story is going to
Right.
be,
Right.
but then they have to write it out on how you're going to get there.
Mhm.
And that's what you're
Mhm.
talking about. And in doing so, the reason why I got so excited within myself is because we're talking about recover me, discover me.
Mhm.
When you're writing out your plan to get to your end result,
Mhm.
as you are planning, you will discover you. You will
You will discover.
discover new things about
Oh,
yourself.
I'm
You
in this
know,
plan. I'm in
yes,
this
I'm
plan.
in this plan.
I'm in this plan.
You'll even discover some things that you not only do you need to do, but some things that you didn't know that you could do, or didn't even know that
Yeah.
you wanted to do in order to
Yes.
get to the goal that you need
Yes.
to get to. So
Right.
planning is so essential because and I like this there's a sign that I've seen before, and it was um oh, commitment is not in the destination, it's in the
Mhm.
journey.
Oh, I like that. I like that. So it's in the process
It's in the
that
process.
commitment is built. As I'm
Yes.
going through if I'm going through thinking about this change, as I go through writing out the parts of
Yes,
this
it's in the
change, when I
plan.
go through considering, do I have
Yes.
enough for this? What do I need for that? That's where commitment is built.
Yep.
Because, John, as we invest time, because we're not wasting time, we're investing time in my change. I'm investing time in my process. I'm
Yes.
investing time in not only who I am now, but who I'm going to be, who I'm recovering, and who
Yes.
I'm discovering.
And who I'm
And
discovering.
so
Yes.
some people don't understand this. They say, oh, that's a waste. Y'all do all that planning, and all you got is a whole bunch of plans. But I am a witness that planning works. Whether I've planned in my business,
Hmm.
planned in my career, planned in my academic life, planned in my spiritual life, plans work. That's the thing we want you to know tonight. Plans work. And if you are, like we talked last time, John, this is not just for the individual who's saying, I want to change my life. This is for the family that says we have a family goal. This is for the business owner
Hmm.
that says my business is not doing too well. I need to recover in 2021. I need to recover my business. I need to discover what else can my business do.
Right.
Whatever your place is tonight, your plan is the goal.
Yes.
Now, John, let's talk about it. Let's develop this plan. So last week, we talked about SMART goals, right? We brought up the term SMART goals. It's not a new term for some. Some it may be brand new. You may have heard it. You may have never heard it. But SMART goals it's an acronym which stands for S is specific, M is measurable, A is attainable, R is realistic, and T is time constrained. And what is basically saying that if you have a goal that is crafted with these key points in mind, then you're going to have a goal that is going to be comprehensive enough that you're going to be able to successfully follow through on your plan. So, John, what do we mean by specific and measurable and attainable and realistic and time constrained? Break down the SMART goal.
Okay, so two things. One, so that the language is kind of interchangeable,
Mhm.
almost with objectives.
Yes.
So in other words, when you have your target goal, your end result, right?
Mhm.
That is
Mhm.
the ultimate destination, which you can say is your goal.
Mhm.
But you also may have to have steps to lead to that goal. And
Okay.
those steps we might call either our objectives, we
Mhm.
might call them steps, or they themselves might be considered as goals.
Okay.
Okay, so
Okay.
you might have goals within the goal.
Okay. I got you.
And the
Goals
reason
within the
why,
goals.
yeah, goals within the goal. And the reason why it needs to be specific is you take any visionary, is in order for you to get to the end result, there has to be some type of development.
Mhm.
So artists, they know exactly where they want to go, but they may start off drawing little circles.
Yeah.
And then the
Yeah.
next thing you know, those circles becomes arms, legs, figures, and then now they have the end result.
I got you. Yes.
So when we're talking about specific, we're talking about details.
Okay.
So the reason why your goals need to be specific and they need to be detailed is because in order to get to the end of this, what are the materials that I need?
Mhm. Mhm.
That's what we mean by specifics.
Okay.
What
So,
is the substance of the things that I need?
okay.
Those are your specifics in what I need to get to this particular goal.
Okay. So my goal needs to be specific because I need to be able to hone in on it. I
Yes.
need to focus on this because, John, like you said, when I start drawing a picture, I can draw a whole bunch of stuff in this picture, but I don't want everything in the picture. I'm trying to draw a cat. Now I could draw many other animals. I could draw a cat and a ball. I could draw a cat and mouse. I could draw a cat but my focus is let me draw this cat first. Other things may become out of the production of this goal. But I need to be specific because I need to know, I need to focus in. You talked about this last week. And so when I focus in, then I can be measurable. What do
Yeah.
you mean by measurable? What are we talking about? Why do I need to measure? Tape measure, John? What you talking about?
Well, yeah, I mean, just like you just said, when you're thinking about um, either counting up like you're counting the cost and what you need. So
Mm-hmm,
if you're being Pacific, then you know you need to draw that cat. You need paper. You need an easel. You need an ink pen. You need a pencil.
mm-hmm.
You need erasers. Right?
Okay.
Those are your Pacifics.
Mm-hmm,
Now, how you are measuring is every time you get something,
mm-hmm.
it's showing you that where you was to where you are now. That's the measurable. So the measurable, am I acquiring the specific things that I need in order
Mm-hmm.
to reach this goal?
So
So
I'm
that's
one
one
step
way of
closer.
measuring. Yes,
I'm
that's
one
one way
step
to measure it
closer.
is one step closer.
Uh-huh.
Um,
Uh-huh.
and another way of measuring is do I see an actual change?
Okay.
So I need to
Okay.
measure it, whether it's a thinking or an emotional
Mm-hmm,
state that I try to move across.
mm-hmm,
That's what you're measuring. If it's a
mm-hmm,
particular behavior,
mm-hmm.
then and your behavior can be measured by. It's always good to know if it's a behavior. It's always good to know that I was drinking 5 sodas a day. Okay, so if I know what my max is,
Mm-hmm.
right, then I can kind of measure it from what am I at to now. So when we say measurable, there has to be something that you could put your finger on that the needle has moved.
And so, John, that kind of brings me into the next two, which is attainable and realistic.
Mm,
So when I set this measure, I have to be careful. I have to be mindful because a lot of people set goals that are not attainable for them at that
mm,
time, and they set things that are unrealistic.
yes.
Even the expectations that we have on other people. And so we might have had some unrealistic expectations in 2020. We need to bring that into reality, whether we are talking about ourselves or whether we're talking about others or what we're discovering. I thought I could do all of this, but I'm finding out that was really too much. It overwhelmed me. It hindered me. It blocked me. So now I have to make sure that it's attainable, something I can actually achieve, and that it's realistic for me. Not for anybody else, but that it's realistic for me. And so, John, wrap this up with time constraints. Why is it important to set a time on my goals?
Well, it's important to set a time on your goal because that's also a part of the measurement. Is because you should have, you want to envision a target date of the arrival, of the attainment of the goal. Not only does it give you something to strive for, but that's why it's so important to plan. Because without a plan and without time frame, then you could be working on something for a long amount of time and never attain it. So when you're talking about attainable and realistic, I believe that everything that we're shooting for is attainable. What makes it the question about the realistic piece is it realistic in the time frame that I'm giving myself?
Oh, John, I got that.
And also too, the reality of it is what I'm trying to attain, is it realistic in the steps that I'm talking about? So in other words, I could be trying to attain something too quickly.
Okay.
Which makes it unrealistic, not unattainable.
Oh, yes, John. Yes.
So you want to keep the hope alive because you believe it is attainable. So when we're saying realistic, we're not talking about your vision being unrealistic.
Right.
We're not talking about your desire being unrealistic. We're talking about the time frame in which you have selected to attain the goal by. Is that realistic?
Is that realistic?
Yes.
Okay.
Because it is attainable.
Yes. Yes.
But is it? But you need to give yourself. That's why the plan is so important, and that's why we usually give ourselves measurable, smaller, attainable goals within the target date. Because
okay, so that's the goals within the goals.
And that's attainable for me. So listen, if I say I'm going to run a marathon and it's 10 miles, it's attainable. But is it attainable for me if I haven't even ran one?
Right.
So it might be attainable, but is it realistic? Is it realistic for me unless I go ahead and run the one to know that I can get to 10?
So that's the goal within the goal that you were talking about. That's making sure that we create goals. So we talked to people last week and we started telling them, we want you to take your goal area and we want you to create 3 goals for your change. And the 3 goals, which are sub goals. Here we go. You got your goal area, your big thing you want to change. Then let's go into 3 categories. Those 3 categories that we want people to start creating goals for is prioritizing from easy to hard, right? Because we said we want the easy first, and then we want the hard to come later. And we talked about what are things that are routine, they're important, but they can happen later. What are things that are urgent, important, but not now? And one things that are emergent. And so, John, what we were talking about is that you may have emergent goals. You may have that 911, why this change is so important. Okay. And you have that over there. That's one category. Then you have urgent goals. These are things that are important, but they're not emergencies. That category is there. And then you may have things that are routine, things that are, easy to knock off. They're important, but they're not like life or death situations or going to make or break you. And John, we talked about the fact that in those categories, create 3 goals. So now you have the big goal. Then you have the 3 sections. Then you have 3 goals for each of those sections. So when you're talking, you were saying, if you have an emergent area of your life, create 3 goals for that emergency, but create them easy to achieve to hard to achieve. Because we want you to start gaining some success. We want you to start feeling motivated. We want you to start seeing that things are happening. Same thing with your urgent and same thing with your routine. And John, I am determined that we are going to definitely put this up so that people can, after this episode, have their paper like we did with the pros and cons list so that they can start writing through their change. And the reason we want easy to hard is because we want people to stay motivated, right, John? As they're planning, as they're thinking about their change.
And building momentum.
Building
building
momentum.
momentum and building confidence. And then also too, we need to celebrate along the way.
Yes,
A
yes.
lot of times we wait until the end before we celebrate.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember sharing the story I told you before when my wife and I was getting married, and I was like, everybody, always focus on the wedding day.
Mm-hmm.
Everything is the wedding day. Everything is the wedding day, and we don't enjoy the journey
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
to the actual wedding day
Right.
because we're so
Right.
focused and stressed out this one day being great that we miss the opportunity of the process,
Right.
enjoying the process
Right.
along the way.
Right.
So when you're talking about what you just said, it's like you want to make sure that you are enjoying and celebrating the little achievements.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So I want to ask our audience, like, what are some of the things that you're enjoying as we are going through this
Yeah.
process together? What are some things that you're enjoying as we are going through Recover Me, Discover Me 2021? What are some of the things that we said, some of the things that you felt, some of the things that you've noticed as you have been joining us? Some people have been on this whole episode, this
Yes.
whole season. What are some of the things? Put it in the chat box. We want to hear from you. What
Hmm.
are some of the things that you are enjoying as we are going through this process? John just got finished saying it. Sometimes we wait till everything is said and done to celebrate, but we want to stop right now with
Hmm.
our audience, and we want to start celebrating. What have you heard? What have you seen? What have you felt that has encouraged you to stay motivated in this change process? What are you going through right now? We want to hear from you. So as we're going through and we're going to continue to talk, please put it in the chat. Connect with us
Yeah.
and let us know what you have enjoyed. So John, let's go further into this plan. So I think that, we got our areas, we got our goals, but then I need to start thinking about what do I need? What do I need to implement
Hmm.
the plan? I got the plan now. I've written it out. But the second part of the plan is not the goals itself. The second part, and there is a scripture where Jesus said, "What man set forth to build a building, which first does
Of the
not sit
cost.
down, count up the cost, and see whether he has sufficient enough to build it?" And
Yeah.
I use that scripture a lot when I talk to businesses and
Hmm.
organizations about planning. You cannot plan without sitting down and evaluating, what do I need to implement this change?
That's
What do
right.
I need to implement this plan? What do I need to make this thing happen? Because I need it to happen. Okay. I'm set. This change has got to happen. And so, John, what do I need to implement my plan?
Well, I think you need to look at what it is that you have in terms of you personally
Mm-hmm,
have in either in your character
mm-hmm,
or your personal skill set
mm-hmm.
or what you have as a resource to be able to attain what you're trying to attain. Then you need to look at what's missing.
Mm,
What's missing? What do I not? What don't I have? And who
mm-hmm.
has it? This is where you go turn into the team again. Remember,
Okay.
we're not all within ourselves. We are dependent, hopefully, to your spiritual higher being, and we are interdependent.
Mm-hmm.
So, a lot of times, our success depends on interacting and interconnecting with other people. That's why we talked about the dream team. So,
Okay.
what are some of the things that I can do or that I need to do? And then, what are some of the things that, if you're counting up the cost, I'm going to need support. I'm going to need other resources. I'm going to need to network. I'm going to need to connect. This is where, to me, that area is very important to now, is you really starting to say, okay, I'm putting together all the materials from counting the cost, as you just said.
Okay. So you're saying that one of the things that I need to do to implement my plan is, first of all, I need to do some learning about myself
That's right.
in this process. I
Yeah.
need to learn, what do I have in my arsenal? What do I have in myself? And then I need to learn about my change. I need to learn about my change. And so somebody, Azure is saying, I think the one thing that is the dream team will be fulfilled if you believe and faint not. So that's something that she's learned in this process. The dream team, the dream, not the dream. I said the dream team, the dream team and the dream. The dream will be fulfilled if you believe and faint not. So that's one thing that Azure is saying that she's learned in this process. So we're asking you tonight, what have you learned? What is exciting you as you're journeying with us in recovery, recover me, discover me? What has come up for you? What are things that have come up for you? And so, John, we're going to continue to talk about the plan. So what do I need to implement the plan? I need me.
Right. I need me.
I need me. I need to know myself. I need to know about myself and about my change. That's what I need to. I need me. I need me to be actively engaged in this process.
That's right.
I can't do it without me. You may want the change day and night.
It can't done without you. Yeah.
Can't get done, right, John? I want this change. I'm sitting in the corner. Oh, I wish things would change. I wish things would change. I wish things would change. And I'm just sitting there waiting for it. And nothing's changing. I'm getting more frustrated. And it's going to change, like sitting in front of a TV. Like, man, I'm tired of looking at this channel. But you got the remote next to you, but you're not even picking the remote up. I'm tired of looking at this channel. I wish this channel would change. And I'm telling you tonight, you want the channel to change, pick up the remote.
You do something. Yes, you have to do
something. Pick up the remote. Yes. There's a whole plethora of numbers and buttons and channels you can go to. But you have to engage in this change process. Yes. You have to be ready. You have to be ready. So, John, you talked about it a little bit. You said, okay, I need me to implement this change. But then I started thinking about, who do I need?
Right.
Who do I need to plan? Who do I need as a part of my plan? Who do I need to implement my plan? And John, you went back to the dream team.
Back to the dream team. You have to go back to the dream team because, like I said, if you have all of these attributes, then it's good. And it's going to get you to certain portions. So, but it's all about recover me, discover me. In discovering me, I may realize that I'm not a very good motivator of myself. You know, if you ever see any of these commercials about NordicTrack and those other things, they have these visual coaches now.
Yes.
And they're telling them that you could do it, you could do it, you can do it, you know, and you might feel as though that's what you need to, as Ray put up, believing and fainting not. So it's a mindset and determination.
Right.
So if you have the mindset of not giving up, and then you're using the action of determination, but you might find in your discovery that I'm really not a good motivator of myself.
Yes, John.
So you need someone to hold you accountable, someone to push you. Because now we're talking about someone to help you acquire a skill, a characteristic that perhaps you might be lacking in. So then that way you can work that into your determination and into your skill set to the point where now you are acquiring it, and then you will become a self-motivator. But you might need that jump start. You might need that kick. That's why we it's so important to have that, Dr. Johnson, and I'll turn it back over to you, is so that what happens is we write these plans out, and I know we're not in action yet, but we write these plans out, and then we get stagnated somewhere in our contemplation. It's because we discovered that I don't have something that I need, and then I don't reach out to get it.
Yes. And so what we're saying is, in the planning phase, before, because once I get into action, I usually get embarrassed because I don't want people to know that I wasn't ready. I don't want people to know that I need. So it's best to do it now. It's best to evaluate your plan and to go through all of those things by asking your dream team member for help. Asking your dream team member for help. And have you ever found yourself not reaching out for the help that you needed? And we're asking our audience that. And what happened? Sometimes we may get embarrassed and say, I'm planning, but I don't need anybody. I'm okay by myself. And we've been talking about that. We're talking about that interdependence and the fact that we need somebody.
Yeah.
And so I may ask my team member for help. But John, when I go to that dream team member, when I go to that coach, when I go to that peer, when I go to that mentor, those people we've identified as important people you need on your team, what should I be saying to them? Should I just be saying, hey, I got some stuff going on. Can you help?
No, I think
What do I need to say to him?
You have to be transparent to the best of your ability,
Mhm.
and identify what you are lacking.
Okay.
You know, because sometimes you might know what you're lacking and you might not know exactly what you need.
Yes. Yes.
You know,
Yes.
so by you identifying what you're lacking, your team can support you in what you need to fulfill that gap or that lack.
Yes.
You know, so don't
John,
think that you have to know everything. What you have to be is transparent, authentic with identifying where you are, because you done did this assessment. You done counted up the costs. And
Right.
guess what? You found some areas where I got that. And then you found some areas where I'm not at that. You need to be able to identify where you're not.
And John, when I identify where I'm not, that's where I need my dream team. And I need to be specific with them.
Be specific.
I need to tell them, what can you do to help me? If I need a coach, I need to say, listen, I'm going to be making this change, and this change is hard for me. I'm going to need you to cheer me up every now and then. And the thing of it is that a lot of times we enlist people to help us, but we don't give them an assignment. And what happens is the person is standing there on the sideline, not really knowing what to do or doing the wrong thing. And then we get frustrated. Like, I thought you were here to help me. And they're like, I am here to help me. But being specific is a partnership. Like you said, it's an agreement. So when I call on my dream team, it's almost like, I was thinking this earlier this week about planning, and I thought about a chess game. That when people play chess, when you move a particular piece of chess in a particular direction, it automatically denotes what the other pieces can do by reason of who they are, those pieces are, and by reason of the spaces that are left. And so when you call on your dream team and you give them a specific assignment in your planning, in your preparation, and in your change process, it will denote the other people and where you're going to place them. But if you just got all of your pieces on the board and you don't have anybody in an assignment, then all of the people on your team are going to be standing there, and you're going to feel like you're not getting the help that you need because you haven't put them on assignment.
Right.
Put your dream team on assignment.
Yeah.
Put your support system on assignment. John and I are here. Put a question in the box.
On assignment.
Put us on assignment.
Love it.
We're on assignment to help you recover this year. We're on assignment to help you recover yourself and also to discover yourself. This is what this podcast this season is about. We're on assignment to help you change what has not been changed in your life and to experience different things this year. Okay?
Yeah.
So, John, I called my dream team up. I said, can you help me with this? Hey, do you know how to do this? Hey, can you come over here and be this for me? I need somebody to cheer me up. And when we do that, we're ready. We're at a place of readiness, right? Yeah. So, John, I don't want to sound like a Debbie Downer. I don't want to keep, saying, wait a minute. It sounds like everybody's probably on the edge of their seat. Like, Nicole, when are we going to change? And we keep saying, hold up, one more thing.
Yeah.
That's because we want to make sure that when we move forward, we start moving forward, we can keep it going. We can keep moving forward. Yeah. So, John, I'm ready. Okay. I figured out what I need to implement. I figured out who I need. I got my dream team in place. They're ready. They're in position. When do I start, John? When do I start? I want to go right now. Is it time?
See,
is it time, John?
Well,
come on, John.
Yeah. Good point. Because it actually is time.
It is time.
It is time to start, but it goes back to that realistic and attainable. Because once you identify what you lack and you're reaching out and you put them on assignment,
Mhm.
then you, from what they can do and what you can do, you need to reassess your target date. You need to
Reassess my
reassess. You
target
need to
date.
reassess the target date to find out, based on what you know you can do and based
Uh-huh.
on what they say that they can do you need to readjust your target date,
Mhm.
or do you need to proceed and then adjust later? Because with
Okay.
time, if, like, say, let's say for instance, I say I can own, Dr. Johnson, I'm gonna help you. I'm on your team. I can support you for
Mhm.
this month, right?
Right.
So,
Right.
so you
Right.
need to get started this month,
All right. Because
right?
I'm here. I'm
Yeah,
available.
I'm
Yeah.
here. Get
I got you.
started this month,
I got you.
and then while you're started and while you're moving, you already know that your target goal attainment
Hmm.
has been adjusted for what you can achieve for this month.
Okay.
So
Okay.
so so you need to uh, uh, reward yourself for what you can get done this month.
Hmm.
That's what I meant by readjusting. So
Right.
then you know that in that month, you know that you have to plan because you don't have something for next month. But
Ah.
don't let what you don't have for next month not get you started today for this month when you have what you need to have for this month.
Oh, John, that sounds like procrastination. That sounds like that
Yes.
procrastination, which
Ooh.
is sabotage. That sounds like fear of the unknown
Mhm.
that needs to be addressed.
Wow.
That sounds like somebody that wants to see the whole thing
Yeah.
before they could even get started. And in any change process, it is a process. It's a process of evaluation. It's a process of starting. It's a process of exploring. And understand, John, we talked about discover me. So
Mhm.
we have to realize as we go through this process, we're going to be discovering things that we've never seen before about ourselves, about what we can do, what we can achieve, and it is going to drastically adjust our time frames. You never thought you could get into that school. And so you start on this process thinking about school, planning for school. You know, you got your dream team helping you out with the application. And what you thought would never happen or what you thought couldn't happen happens. You get in. Now you got to readjust because now the game has changed.
Yes.
Now I'm on a different level. Now I have a new goal now. And so when I begin cannot be held up by procrastination
Yes.
or fear. Those are two areas, John, that we suffer with procrastination and fear.
And if you're utilizing the recover me, discover me process
Mhm.
correctly, and you're
Yes.
utilizing your dream team correctly,
Mhm.
then you are in an area where you're vulnerable enough to identify that.
Yes,
You
John.
know, you
Yes.
need to
Yes.
identify that, because what
Yes.
happens is now we're regressing in either our mental state or emotional state,
Mhm.
or in a
Mhm.
state of hostage of, like you said, fear
Mhm.
and procrastination, which is sabotage,
Yes.
but when you identify that, then people can help you get out of that mode. And that's the
Yes.
importance of knowing what I can do versus
Yes.
what somebody else can do. There are areas, Dr. Johnson, where I can hold myself accountable and I do a
Mhm.
pretty good job.
Mhm.
But then there's other areas that I don't do a pretty good job holding me accountable.
Mhm.
So I need someone else to hold me accountable.
Mhm.
So, but it still has to come up with that honest piece here. And
Mhm.
and the reason why I said the discover me piece, because there's always an inventory going on, and you
Mhm.
need to know the inventory of yourself and identify that you are a procrastinator, or
Yes.
identify
Yes.
that you have fears. A lot of
Yes.
times, like you said, we sit on these things which are our barriers,
Mhm.
right? And it's destructive. It's because we move right back into that contemplation.
Yes.
So
Yes.
everything that we're teaching you
Yes.
guys is all works as a system, an
Yes.
interconnected system. So you
Yes.
can never forget about the stages of change.
Right.
You
Right.
can never forget about it, because you need to always assess what stage of change am I in that
Am
I'm
I
not
in?
moving.
John, let me say something to you. Now, aside from giving them an assignment, are there other ways that we can misuse our dream team? How do we misuse? If I don't, let's say I have my dream team, I've given them assignments, but what are some other ways that I might misuse them?
Well, that's a very important question. because it's almost like it's a give and take thing too, because the dream team got to not be in position to be misused
Yes,
in
right,
one aspect,
right.
because they need to be hold you accountable.
Mhm.
And the reason why I said it's tricky is because you could have them doing for you what you should be doing for yourself,
Oh,
you
John,
know.
I like
and
that.
and and, and
I like
that's,
that.
you got them. You can misuse them that way, and you can
Mhm,
also misuse them in the manner in which they are doing those things that you asked them to do,
mhm.
but then you're not doing your part secretly.
Oh, wow,
So,
John.
you expected me, and I got all this stuff done for you, and I created you this diet and this work plan and this workout plan, and then at the end of the month we haven't attained the goal.
Mhm,
And
mhm.
I'm thinking as a dream team member, what did I do wrong? I need to readjust your diet. I
That's
need to do
interesting.
this.
Yeah.
But actually, you never did the work.
John, and that's an important piece because you said earlier, and this is so true, this is a partnership. So, and even as we work in the field, of substance use disorder treatment, and we talk about recovery, we can't make anyone change.
Yep.
This is a partnership. We come alongside you and say to you, we're going to support you in this change process. We're going to use all the skills, all the knowledge, all the efforts, all the evidence-based practices that I know that can spark a change, that can give you insight. We're going to use that. Yes, Juanita, don't
Self-sabotage. Don't
self-sabotage, because we have
self-sabotage.
a habit of putting people in certain places. And this is another way, as you were talking, John, what happens when we take our dream team members, and I know someone should be my mentor, but I make them my peer because
Oh, okay
I
now.
don't want to hear what they got to say. So
Wow.
I just put them in a position over here. And every time they start teaching me, because they're really my mentor, they're really someone who could teach me, but I treat them, or I put them in the position of a peer. Like, oh, don't tell me that. Oh, that's not what I want from you. Or you ignore, you understand, the wisdom or the knowledge or the understanding. So there are ways that we can misuse our team. And that will not only
Definitely.
cause sabotage,
That's
but that will
definitely.
also cause frustration.
Yes.
That may also cause us, and I hope that if you're on here tonight, if you're watching, you may have lost your dream team. Let's think about people who have businesses. You may have lost your dream team because you didn't know how to use your staff.
Yeah.
And people got frustrated and they left. Tonight we're saying reevaluate your team.
Reevaluate.
Put people in their rightful place,
Yes.
rightful place,
Yes.
right, John?
Yes.
And
Yes.
use them and use them.
Yes.
And
Yes.
then we can say to
Wow.
ourselves, get ready, get
Yeah.
set,
Yes.
and go.
Yes.
That's where we're going. John, guess what? We
Wow. I know
got 9 minutes,
we're running
John.
out of
I don't
time
know
here.
how we get here.
Yes.
And
Yes. Oh
every week
my.
we get to this point where it's just like, oh my goodness, we got to move to our action phase. We
Yes.
have to give our friends and everyone who's tuned in tonight, we have to give them these action steps.
Yeah.
We have to give them the action steps. And like I said, we're going to put up another form, another sheet so that you can walk through this step. So we can't end without this. Okay. How are you going to plan? How are we going to plan? Again, we're still in our planning stage. John, I'm so excited because you know what's next week.
Some goals. Yes.
We about to go into action.
Yeah, we
I
in.
am so
We in.
excited. But let's talk about the plan. So tonight we've talked about plan for what you need. Successful beginnings is thinking about what you need right now. That's a successful start. A successful way to start planning is to think about what you need right now. Think about it. Not 5 years down the line, like John said. I need to know what I need for this next month. While I have the help, what do I need right now so that I can start getting some success under my belt? So plan for what you will need right now. The next thing is you have to plan for who can help you and who will be able and available to help you. We all need help, everybody. We all need help. And here's the thing. Ask for what you need.
Yes.
We need help. And so many times we'll sit back and we won't ask for it. We're getting ready to plan, and we know someone has opened a successful business, but we won't call that person on the phone and say, hey, I'm about to start a business and I wanted to be successful. I see yours. Can you help me? Can you give me some ideas? Can you give me some thoughts? Let's say you see somebody and you know they have been able to come off of drugs. They're no longer drinking. They're no longer engaged in pornography or whatever it is, some addiction. And you're looking at them and you're saying, wow, I heard that person talk about how they got 8 years clean, how they got 10 years clean, but you're sitting there and won't reach out for the help that you need. Let me tell you something. Drop that. Go after what you need and who you need tonight. And the last thing is plan for when you will begin. It's important to get started, but it's important to get started in the right way. It's important to get started with these things in place. They say ounce, what is it? An ounce of instruction is a pound of something. I'm thinking I'm mixing like
Wow, I heard
prevention.
of that.
An ounce of
Yeah.
prevention is worth a pound of cure or something like that. In other words, what is it saying? Plan now. If you prepare now, if you do some prevention now, you won't have to fix it later. When I started thinking about businesses that I've started, an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. Good to have somebody who knows these things and
That's
can
on
get
our
it to
dream
us.
team. She's
Amen.
on our dream
Thank
team.
you. So, when I started businesses, when I started things that I've done in my life, just to know what was coming, I was able to prepare my mind. I can compare it when I went into my doctoral program. 4 years of I would say almost torture, but it wasn't almost torture because I had prepared my mind. I had prepared my social relationships. I had prepared my family. I had prepared my finances, not as good as I would do it the next time, but I'm not getting another doctoral degree, but if I was going back. But I had prepared all of those things. So when I entered, I was fully engaged. I was fully committed to this change because I had prepared. I had a plan. I had a vision, like John said, but I also had a plan of how I was going to get to that vision.
Mhm.
And so what we're saying tonight is plan. John, let's wrap up this preparation. Give us a couple of minutes before we close on our plan.
Well, I don't know. I think the first thing that I would say is be excited.
Be
You know,
excited.
be
Yes.
excited about the
Be
plan.
excited.
Be
Yes.
excited that
Yes.
you're able to really sit back and evaluate, and articulate and design, or be the designer of your change.
Oh, John. Oh, I love that. You
Welcome
are
that.
the
Yeah,
designer
you are the
of
designer
your.
of your change.
Listen, everybody,
Mm,
say it. Put it in the
yeah,
chat. I am the designer
yes.
of my change.
Yeah.
I am. No one else is designing this change
Mhm.
for me. Go ahead, John. I'm sorry. Go ahead. You got
No,
me excited.
I would just
I'm
say
the
that. Yeah.
I'm the designer.
And the reason why I'm saying that is enjoy that. And the second
Enjoy
thing
that.
I would say is that, it is very important to understand the value
Mm-hmm.
of your team
Mm-hmm.
or
Mm-hmm.
others, and you
Yes.
being a part of somebody else's team.
Yes.
And if you value that, then allow them to be who they're supposed to be in that lane,
Wow. Yeah.
and trust it. So if it's your pastor, allow him to pastor you.
Mm-hmm.
If it's your teacher, allow your teacher to teach you.
Mm-hmm.
If it's your coach, allow the coach to coach you.
Mm-hmm.
And what your job is to help them out is to identify, is it
Mm-hmm.
working? Is it not working?
Yes.
And that it gives them an opportunity to support you in what they might need to change
Yes. Yes.
in order to support
Yes.
you. I'll leave those things within your plan.
John,
That's
I
where I'm
love
going to
it.
stop at.
I love it. I love it. So let the person do their job. You enlisted them. You asked them to come on your dream team to help you. And John, I'm just sitting here thinking about I am designer. I'm the designer of my change,
I have
meaning
my change.
this change is not in anyone else's hands but mine. No one can make me do this part. I have got to do this.
Yeah,
And let me tell you something, friends, as you are designing your change, you are preparing your mind for what is to come.
yeah.
You are preparing your mind for a great transformation in your life. You are preparing your mind for what is ahead. You're preparing yourself for the new you, the discovery that's going to happen as you recover me in recovery, right? So,
Yeah.
John, I tell you what, I can't wait. Next week, we're going to crack open action.
Get ready.
Next week, we're going to talk about what are we doing? What are we doing? We talked about planning. Okay, y'all probably tired of hearing us plan. Oh my goodness. Y'all talk about the plan. We've been writing. When are we going to get this thing started? But I can promise you next week when we start talking about action, when we start talking about the first 6 months of your process, the first 6 months of your change, we will crack this open even the more. Friends, we love you. Subscribe to our YouTube page at Dr. Nicole Johnson and also at Headshots Podcast. Like us on Facebook. Share it with everybody. We are here with you in this process. We are a part. We have deputized ourselves, right, John?
Yes.
As a part
Thank
of
you
your
for
dream
having me
team.
here. Yes.
Recovery, Recover Me, Discover Me 2021 on the Headshots Podcast with Dr. Nicole and Elder John. We look to see you next week.
Yes.
Have a great week. Look out for the instructions for your preparation as we go into action next week. We look to see you then. Take care, everybody. Have a good night.
Bye.
God
Thank you,
bless you.
everybody.
We love you.